Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to your second Saturday video. This one is about Onslaught. So the deep dive has probably gone live for the champion, but I haven't had any chance to look at the spotlight. I'm also wanting to compare some stuff and also look at some stuff visually. What am I talking about visually? Well, visually is if you watch the live stream, the Kabam live stream, which looked a little like, this. And when we can switch it to there, the full screen mode, you can see that is the live stream. This is important because we have got to look over this section here, which is the Onslaught section. And of course, we want to see the champion in full motion, doing all the damage, which of course has some crazy stuff from the deep dive, which this is actually taken from the deep dive. But I wanted to see all the kind of damage that's scaled up, you know, the neuro shocks, the degens, you do ramp up over a certain time depending on how you rotate, throwing heavy attacks, you can see there, convert neuro shocks to your degens, and it's just doing a whopping amount of damage, which is incredible. And we'll kind of repeat that and look over that particular segment you know, a few times, because the champion is going to be a great counter to the likes of Atuma. Actually, let's throw that on right now, so you can see on screen now that the champion is doing bits against that. So I don't know, I think it's a UK term, bits. You can see there, like, look at the damage, like, against Atuma, a very frustrating and annoying champion. So yeah, like, screw Atuma. This is going to be a fantastic counter. But I wanted to dig out the spotlight. I wanted to have a look at the champion in a bit more kind of like detail, delve into stuff. You know, look at the nitty gritty, as Kabam Jackson says. So let's do that. Let's get this up here and have a look at some of the details. And as I said, we'll kind of flip back to having a look at the footage. Something that does strike me as a bit, a little bit annoying. We've got to bring the red circle of doom in for this one, and that is the abilities information. So I saw this; it did give me a bit of the heebie-jeebies, especially because it's like survivability 2.5, okay, damage 3.5, which is good enough. It's not a 5, but it's certainly up there. Ease of use 2, which is a bit concerning, because obviously, you know, you'd like a champion to be kind of easy to use, but you know, 2 is very low. That's very low, and obviously rotation is going to be key, with the utility being of 4. Now, on my notes that I made for this, I think that maybe how Kabam, Kabam Karate Mike was kind of explaining. He was kind of going over the following. Now, I've got to dig out my my notes for this, because it just seemed like it was like a bit of a hodgepodge of things. Like, you've got to do a parry, you've got to get daunted debuffs, do heavies, keep mirror shock pause, do an SP1. That will allow you to get more neuro shocks, or you build them. You get more magnetism, which you saw the emblem. You build your neuros, so neuro shocks. Do an SP2, then heavies, then huge damage comes from that, and it just another part of it. I think I've overcomplicated it, but you know, here's the thing: when I rewatch it back or re-listen to it back, it's just a case of like, well, Kabam say it's a 2 when it comes to ease of use, and if Karate Mike's got to overly explain it, then it's like, oh, I guess I've got to remember the overcomplication of a champion. However, though, I'm sure the payoff is very good, and I'm sure that then it becomes an extra option, an interesting option to take on certain content. So let's get back to the spotlight page, which we had up a moment ago, and go in a bit more details to different things. So this is it's very wordy, isn't it? It's very wordy with these spotlights. So Kabam say that Onslaught needs to inflict as many neuro shocks as possible. That obviously goes to what it's saying. With basic attacks, at least one special attack, while keeping those neuro shocks paused for as long as possible by hitting a non-stunned opponent with a heavy attack. Once the opponent is suffering from lots of neuroshocks, strike them with a special attack too, as neurotoxins are converted to degen. This sounds more, you know, easier to explain. These degenerations are shorter and deal more damage than the neuroshocks, so keep them paused. Leads to a lot more damage. Additionally, Onslaught's ability is named Daunted, increases all the damage the opponent takes during special attacks. So throwing lots of special attacks ones will cause pause degenerations to do even more damage during these specials. So I guess it's like SP1s to build, then it's a case of heavy attacks, non-stunned opponent. That means you've got to time that right. That could be a bit tricky. That'd be interesting to kind of give it a go. And as well, then it's SP2 and then it's like further SP1s to follow. So you've just got to get that rotation down. So I guess it's the ease of use comes in at a 2 for that particular reason. And organic magnetism. That sounds naughty. So what else? Let's just zoom this in a little bit more so we can see this in a bit more. There we go. That's better. So weaknesses, energy resistance, reverse control immunity. His SP2 always inflicts reverse controls, which makes it very difficult to avoid it. Immunity to this ability makes the fight a lot easier. There you go. High energy resistance can reduce a lot of his damage, but not all of it. Avoid his SP2 is still necessary. Okay, that's something to note. Yeah. Moving on. So what else? First light to medium attacks do not make contact. Okay, incoming bleed, incinerate, and shock potencies reduced by 150%. Wow. Okay, this is, I think, is going to be a skill champion killer. Onslaught debuffs gain 50% increased ability accuracy against skill champions. There you go. If a personal debuff on or the stun from the parry mastery is purified or prevented due to debuff immunity, reinflict the debuff as a passive. So that's kind of like White Magneto based elements as part of the champion. Interesting. All these abilities are useful both as an attacker and defender, but the increased ability accuracy for debuffs against skill champions stands out a little bit because it also affects the debuff from nodes, making very difficult for skill attackers to completely shut down node debuffs when Onslaught is the defender. Ouch. When the opponent's combo meter passes multiple of 10, gain a non-stacking crush charge. When the charge is at an attack, consume the charge and inflict a crush debuff for 3 seconds. On struck special attack, the crush charge is removed. As long as you are frequently striking Onslaught with special attacks, this crush debuff will not trigger, but this may throw off the loop of many champions and consequently the fight slows down a bit. This could be annoying for the likes of, as a defender, this is going to be a very capable defender right off the bat. Daunted, when either champion well time block inflict the indefinite daunted debuff for 15 seconds, 15%, max 10. While daunted is active, Onslaught disables the opponent's willpower mastery. Oh, counters willpower. Hello. People won't be able to use that. Oh dear, not good for suicide mastery owners, and you're not going to take a kingpin against this, which that's one of the biggest champion benefits of this stuff. This damage increase affects all sources of damage, including hits, personal damage debuffs, and any damaging effects from the quest. Oh, pays not to have willpower all the time, it seems. Either champion attacks have a 15% chance to inflict a Neuroshock passive, dealing 1,447 energy damage over 12 seconds. Critical hits and unblockable special hits have their chance increased by 40% flat, double against skill champions. If Onslaught is a defender, dodging backwards removes one Neuroshock. #metal champions cannot remove Neuroshocks. This effect has 2 points. It's lots of little intricate kind of like interactions here with this champion. You've got to play against this very carefully. I think there's loads of little kind of like niche things with it. It'd be interesting as well to think about counters. Is it tech all the way? Well, it depends. It really does depend, doesn't it, on this. While fighting against Onslaught, if you cannot let too many Neuroshocks accumulate, since removing Neuroshocks by dashing backwards only removes a single Neuroshock at a time, then that might not make too much of a difference against many stacks. I'm trying to think of like what is going to be some good options for this. Like, is Ultron going to be good against this? Is a Mega Sentinel going to be good against this? Is this going to be more of a bugbear for any tech champion? Warlock? No, not Warlock. There's probably going to be... We'll figure out some counters. In order to get the highest damage possible, or heavy attack, the first hit pauses all personal damaging effects, 1.5 seconds. If the opponent is not suffering from a stun debuff, inflict a daunted debuff. Now, I thought this champion was meant to have some kind of like miss-based countering technology to it. Is that going to be... No, I thought that they said, Kabam said that this was meant to have some Anyway, Onslaught can block unblockable special attacks from the skill champions. Well, I thought that was kind of like... That's the problem with it, the live streams. Yes, it gives away some information, but at the same time, like, that's overly specific. For each non-damaging debuff, the personal... or personal non-damaging passive on the opponent, Onslaught special attacks gain block penetration. So that could be good, maybe. Very good, maybe. A bit of healing, a bit of regeneration with a synergy. I've missed off some other stuff as well. So SP1. Each hit has a 100% chance plus a flat 50% chance to inflict the personal Neuroshock passive. An organic magnetism debuff. And these can be inflicted through the block. Wow, okay. While organic magnetism is active, the specials cost 33% less power and is more active. That's good because you want to rotate around SP1s. And then as well, special 1 is the most effective way to inflict neuroshocks on the opponent. A single SP1 inflicts enough neuroshocks. Okay, cool. SP2, delirium, 30% potency to duration of specials. This will not trigger when fighting its opponent with a psychic shielding. On hit, replace all neuroshocks with Degens. We know about that, don't we? And the SP3 has got stun passive, 3 seconds, and less power cost. Inflict 20 neuroshock passives and refresh all existing stacks. Okay, well, look, that's interesting enough. I think this champion is going to be a bit of a pain. I think it's going to be more of this kind of like a debuff, kind of like an archangel-y, apocalypse-y kind of like mesh with it. Not saying exactly, but what I'm saying is like the passive debuffs and stuff like that. I think this is going to be very, very fun. And yeah, going back to the footage, we can see some fantastic damage over these special neurotoxins. Let's get it up to C, which is right there. So yeah, like the kind of like amount of damage is just fantastic. As soon as you get to that, look, it's killing off. It's killing off Kingpin. And obviously, if he had something like what's the word? If he had willpower, then, and look, it's very specific to deal with like blocking unblockable specials for skills, but that damage, I think this is going to be it for me. It's going to be about this degen damage, and that's just going to be it. It's just going to be incredibly fun. Having such a potent counter for a lot of skill-based champions that are being pests. I'm talking like anything people field as defenders in Battlegrounds, in Alliance Wars. This is going to be one of those counters. It's going to be something that at the moment, I've been using in this particular regard for skill-based champion countering with passives, Iceman. So for me personally, it's going to be nice to kind of switch it up and kind of go with a new champion option. So yeah, looks really exciting. I'm really, really excited for this champion, and the damage looks tasty. What are your thoughts? Put it in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video. Check out some other content which will be located on screen. Much love and goodbye for now.